I always get this question, do you know who and what you laid down with? Shout out to everybody as we off the top. Give the Most High all the honor, the glory, and all praise and worship. About 4 years ago, I did a video that kind of went big about the different blood types. And last year, I believe, we kind of touched on bloodlines again, and how important is it to know, or is it not important to know who you slept with? And the reason why I'm kind of responding back, because me and my wife was having a conversation about this the other day, about how it's so much sleeping around, whoring around, people getting pregnant left and right, women getting pregnant left and right. They ain't getting pregnant on their own, of course. And another reason why so many children, when they were born, you start seeing the way they acting and the bloodline. And I was telling my wife, I said, but really, the world has a different view when it comes to 50-50 and all this stuff. And you get your genes more from your mom and all this stuff that the world says. But I always say I look at things from a biblical standpoint that I don't even argue with. I let people argue by themselves or with others. When you look at things from a biblical standpoint, it was always on the man. Your identity, I mean, it was always on the man versus all this, what we see now, and he say, she say. And when you don't know who you laying down with, they family, I believe Steve Reed talked about this a while back. When you don't really know what you jumping into because it's going down the family tree, and you wonder why you hooked up with this person and this person is doing this and doing that. Now, some people may say it don't really matter, you know, who that person is. It don't matter about the family, but what's the first thing they ask you when you go to the hospital? Is it hereditary? Do they have diabetes? Is it high blood pressure on your mama's side? Or anybody in your family has strokes? Anybody in your family suicidal? Anybody? They go. Now, why is it the hospitals do that? I'm just asking a question. And that's why I asked y'all in the video the other day about how accurate is this ancestrystuff.com. And I like the comments. Matter of fact, I love them. But once this lady asked me the other day, I don't know what my baby daddy is. And she made a strange statement. It wasn't strange to me, but strange to others. She said, I don't even think my baby daddy is human. I don't think that my baby daddy is human. And she said the same thing. She said, I don't know what I laid down with. Because there are some things that the baby do just not normal. It just don't seem like a normal child. It's like, and then you gotta add this in there. So what does the world say? They slow. They're not gonna be able to keep up with the regular children. They got ADHD. They got this, they got that. They autism. See, and I'm not saying this to start nothing, y'all. My point is, how close do you watch your child? How close do we watch our children? Because if you ain't careful, you'll let this world system diagnose your child with something that they really don't have. And I always say it have a lot to do with the upbringing. But remember, like I just told my wife, we were talking about my dad and his daddy, and we were talking about the blood. My daddy would tell me that his daddy was the devil. And he'll say, Ro, I got that same blood flowing through my veins. That same blood is flowing through your veins, your brother's veins. He said, your mama married me. And they had to really pray, because he always said his daddy, S.B. Thompson, was the devil. He said, my daddy murdered people. My daddy went to prison. It just really wasn't no good. He said my daddy was a very, very evil man. And I shared this many times with my wife. I said, but ask me, am I just like my granddaddy? And that's why when people keep talking about, man, y'all know we go back to Noah, man, we cursed. I've been hearing it all my life. That's why we curse as black people. We curse. That's why I do these Bible studies and teachings about Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Curse be to Canaan, not curse be to Ham, but curse be to Canaan, like we talked about the other day. Noah didn't curse his son, he cursed his grandson. And we broke that down once again. That's why it's so important to know biblical history. Because if you look at Japheth and their bloodline, then you look at Shem, Shemites, you look at Ham, you look at Hamites, you see the difference. But you choose to sleep with who you choose to sleep with. But the question is, what are you sleeping with? Who are you sleeping with? That's why when I did that video 4 years ago, it made a lot of people scared because they were like, man, I don't know. If do I even want to know what the blood type was? See, when you look at Japan, and I used to work with a Japanese guy, 2 or 3 of them, you know, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and we would have these conversations. And the Japanese man would always tell me, he would say, JT, where I'm from, he said, we look at it a little bit different. He said, because when you start talking about the blood types, what do you say, A? He said they believe, I'm trying to remember this, I think he said they believe that A was like creative people, right? And they was good with creativity, but kind of uptight in so many ways. And then they look at the blood type. They want to know what you are because they're going to base their relationship off of that. And then you got to realize a lot of people are into astrology, you know, the zodiac signs and all that stuff. So again, you when you lay down with somebody, you ain't just laying down with somebody. You taking on that somebody. That somebody is becoming you. I tell ladies all the time, it ain't just sex. It goes to your head. And it have you acting a whole nother way that you never thought you would act that way because he done got your mind, so he got your actions. And then they would, I think I did a video about this last year. They got this thing out, which is very dangerous to me, artificial blood. And it don't need refrigeration. And it's supposed to be able to have longer life, something like that. And it's very dangerous. It's really, when you break it down, it's fake red blood cells. Just like I was telling y'all how they was making them fake eggs, using them lasers and making the yolk and all that stuff. And then you mess around and put that stuff in your body. Man, we got to realize what we living in, family. But these artificial blood, man, notice we've been talking about all this AI stuff. So you know they was going to come with artificial blood too. You know, so, and think about it when it's being injected in somebody. Think about what it does to your heart, your body, period. And that's why they were saying it was more heart attacks because of all this artificial blood is out. Somebody going to think I'm lying on what I'm talking about. But y'all know I've talked about this stuff more than once. But family, I love you. That's my time. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. Shalom.